Hi everybody, this is Jody from Lakehurst Farms. I'm going to be demonstrating one of my top swirling techniques today. It's sort of an alternating swirl. So I'm soaping at about 100 degrees today. My oils and butters are all weighed out. My lye water's ready to go. And I'm going to go ahead and combine the two. Safety first, gloves and glasses. So I'm just adding my lye water to my oils. I'm going to bring this just to an emulsification. Alright, this is pretty nicely emulsified. So we are going to go ahead and start dividing it up. So I'm working with about 4.5 pounds of soap batter here. So I'm going to pour some off for another project I'm going to show you at the end. So I probably keep about 3 cups of soap over there. And we're just going to set that off to the side. So at this point I'm going to take 5 squirt bottles. And I'm going to put some soap batter in them. We're going to do approximately half and half. It doesn't have to be exact. But you want close to the same amount in each of your squirt bottles. You don't want a ton of one color and not enough of another. So those are pretty close. I've got a fragrance oil blend here of lemon and wildflower honey. I'm going to go ahead and throw that in my remaining batter here. I don't really want any fragrance oil in my squirt bottles because I'm not entirely sure how it's going to behave, so I don't want to risk it tracing too fast. This is just at a light trace now, which is fine, because by the time we finish coloring and getting our squirt bottles all set to go, it's going to be set up a little more. So I've lined my slab mold with a fondant mat, and that's going to give you that nice flower texture or whatever texture your fondant mat has on it. It's just sort of a nice little surprise on the bottom of the bar. And I didn't bother to add any titanium dioxide to this because we know the wildflower honey is going to discolor it anyways. So you might as well just let it go. I spread my batter recipe, and all of a sudden, 48 hours after I pour, every time I get ash now. So who knows? I'm going to start coloring out my squirt bottles here. There's white. I've dispersed my titanium dioxide in water because it just seems to work a little better. And I'm so sick of those tiny white spots. I hate titanium dioxide. So I'm going to do white. I'm going to do an amberish color, 2 different colors of yellow, and a black. So I'm going to start working on my yellow here. I want one sort of a nice light yellow, and the other one I want a yellow with a nice pop to it. So that's not a super bright yellow. This one I'm going to put some more yellow in it. I'm going to put just a tiny bit more. Sometimes you have to make a choice. You can either have your soap be the color you want it, and you can deal with the fact that it's maybe going to throw some color or suds a little color, or you can go with a much lighter, more natural colored soap, and you're assured of not having any colored suds. It's a personal choice. I don't really mind the colored suds that much, so Sometimes I'm willing to just put a little extra color in to get it to look how I want. Now we're going with a nice gold, which will give us kind of an amber color. I'm pretty happy with that. And now we're going to go with a little black. Black is just such a nice contrast. Black in small quantities I find doesn't cause a soap to suds gray. Anytime you get a considerable amount of black in your bar, you're going to have gray suds. But when you are making your black, be willing to add that little bit of extra pigment to get that nice black color. Otherwise you end up with this chalky sort of gray and it just doesn't have the effect you want. Alright, my colors are all mixed up. They're ready to roll. Let me wipe up my mess. Alright, let's get these capped. You want to try to avoid squirting air bubbles onto this because it will mess up your lines. Then you're stuck trying to fix them with your last little bit of batter. Alright, coming to the end of our squirt bottles here. And we're starting to get some air bubbles, so really shake it down before you squirt it. Just try to avoid what you can. And we're done with our white. Now let's put some nice contrasting black stripes on here. Put one right there. One there. Alright, go ahead and grab your hair pick or whatever you like to use to swirl with. This is just a Conair hair pick. I've spread the tines out a little. You're going to go ahead and drag down. I normally would drip some mica dispersed in oil on the top because it gives it just this amazing pop, but because I'm having issues with soda ash right now, I'm not going to bother because I'm probably going to have to rinse them down, so I'm going to have to spread my tines way out to get these last little things in here. We're going to come back after with a little skewer to pick up what we couldn't get. Tines. So now we're going to start doing our alternating swirl pattern. I like to try to get 3 in. It doesn't always work out, but swirl like that. I'm going to do a matching one right next to it. And then you're going to come from the other direction. If you'll notice, I'm alternating the swirls. Each time I'm coming from the opposite way. It does have a tendency to get kind of confusing. But just do the best you can. Yeah, see, I didn't leave myself enough space to do 3, so we're going to go with 2 nice ones here. And if you mess it up, it really doesn't matter, because once the bars are cut, you're never going to notice. So don't even worry about it. do what you can. And so then we're just going to go ahead and lay our last swirls in here. And that's it. Done. Not as hard as this. And here's an up close view of it. I had to take it off my tripod to get a better look. As you can see, that came out pretty good. I'm certainly happy with it. Soap here with my alternating top swirl, and instead of cutting it into the classic bars, today what I'm going to do is use an oval cutter. I got a nice little oval cutter set from Amazon, and I'm going to use it to cut some nice bars here. Let's see what's going to make a nicer bar. I think I like that better, so let's see how this goes. I've never done it like this before. You don't want your loaf to be too hard when you do this. You're going to have a really rough time. And it's got a nice little patterned flower design on the bottom. I'm going to put even pressure on both sides of the soap. Just slowly pop it out. Then you've got a nice little oval bar. That's pretty cute. I'm happy with that. There's your nice design. I'm going to wipe my cutter down in between cuts. I could get 2 more out of this, but I won't. So I'm going to cherry pick and get the prettiest swirl on top that I can. And I think I like that bar better than any of the other bars. So, here's what we have. Here is our wildflower honey and lemon zest top swirled soap. Who could be mad at that? There you have it, whole process, start to finish. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the next one.